when Aston Villa played PSG at Villa Park, biggest night for such a long time in the club's history. And the DJ is meant to play out that famous music for the Champions League and just fires out the Europa League music.
No, is that what this is? This is Europa League.
That's what it was, yeah. Don't pretend you don't know that.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know. I was in Dublin.
It's the Conference League music. You should know that.
I was playing. No.
Do you not see that before they belted it out?
I went to one of those games. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. Chelsea were 5-0 up at half time, and I left. It was just, we played a team called Noah.
Yeah.
And we were 5-0. I was in glorious surroundings, right? I was in a box. It was really nice.
Yeah. The goal was going 2-2.
I was just I texted my mate who was not in the box. He was just sitting somewhere else. Yeah. I went, should we just meet in a pub? This is a waste of time, isn't it? Yeah. It's you're watching Chelsea just a training session, really.
Goals were flooding in, weren't they?
Flooding in, mate.
It's a big week for European football, though, and you have an astounding record, Mr. Jennings, so far of predicting some of these huge games, including Arsenal's last tie against Real Madrid, where I think you said that Arsenal's chances were. Can you remind me?
I think I may have said something along the lines of slim and none, and Slim just left town. So I wasn't correct.
Oh, I tell you what as well, if you haven't seen them, the clips of Rory watching that game live on his stream are hilarious. Because you're white as a sheep because you can see the fear in your eyes of Arsenal winning a Champions League. How nervous are you though? Because they take on PSG, who everyone is kind of tipping is the best team in Europe, who have looked, incredible, really.
I'm worried.
PSG. But Arsenal have already done a job on Real Madrid, and you say you're worried. Do you think Arsenal are going to win this?
Yeah, I think Arsenal will win. Do you know what I can't understand? Why do people keep dismissing the fact that Arsenal have already beaten them this season? Why are people acting like that didn't happen? I appreciate that Kvaratskhelia wasn't playing for them. Yeah, Dembele didn't play. But you've still beaten that team. People are going, well, it doesn't matter. It was this season. It's about 3 months ago.
I think PSG are a much changed team since then, though. The run they've been on since then. They started the Champions League very poorly. For me, they're a completely different team. But that's why people are saying it.
But it does matter, doesn't it? Do you believe that it matters on some level?
Of course it matters because you have got one over on them this season. But actually, in a way, the Arsenal players almost won't know what to expect because they are facing a completely different beast, in my opinion.
Honestly, I cannot see a world where PSG don't get beat, home and away. I think Arsenal are just going to be too strong for them. I really do. You think about the power of Arsenal, the momentum of Arsenal, the way that it's moving for Arsenal, the dominance of Arsenal in that midfield. I know missing Thomas Partey is going to be huge because they need to give him a new contract. He's so important to them. But I still think that they'll dominate the midfield. I think Declan Rice is so good, and they'll also dominate the wide areas. Their fullbacks, plus Martinelli and Saka, are going to be too strong.
But they're coming up against two of the best fullbacks in the world, though, at the moment.
But they did already in Rodrigo and Mbappe.
It's going to be a belter of a game. I think PSG carry more of a threat than you're making out here.
I hope you're right.
Attacking-wise, they are incredible.
I support Paris Saint-Germain now. Je suis Parisien. Où est la bibliothèque? I am desperate for Paris Saint-Germain to win.
Oh my word! So what you genuinely think? What are you saying then, score-wise? Arsenal. Are you? By the way, sorry. Just quickly. Are you doing this because it went so badly last time? You're trying to kind of manifest that Arsenal lose. You're trying to get your prediction wrong, or you genuinely think this?
I don't see why we believe. I think these are quite rational thoughts as well. I thought Real Madrid were going to be too powerful for Arsenal. Arsenal have proved me wrong and beaten Real Madrid. I now think Arsenal are far stronger than Paris Saint-Germain because of what I've learned about Arsenal in dethroning Real Madrid. Real Madrid haven't been knocked out of the Champions League in the quarterfinals for 21 years. Yeah. Fernando Morientes and Arsenal did it. They won home and away. Yeah. Against Real Madrid, they won in the Bernabeu. But also, that's a coming-of-age moment.
Yeah, all right, fine, but it's also not a vintage Real Madrid team. It's a Real
Madrid.
It is.
They're the European champions.
Yeah, no, but not this season. They've lost 10 or 11 games in the league.
They're nearly at the top of the league. They've got Carlo Ancelotti.
It's not been a vintage season by Real Madrid standards at all.
No, but it's still the player. I didn't see there. I didn't believe.
No, but whereas PSG have knocked out Liverpool, who are the champions of England this season, they've beaten Aston Villa, survived an onslaught at Villa Park, and managed to scrape their way through. This is an extremely difficult game for Arsenal. It is.
I don't. Every game in the Champions League is difficult on some level, and you're playing in the semi-final of the European Cup. You're playing an excellent team managed by an excellent manager. Yeah, okay, I agree with you. It's going to be a difficult game. but I've seen nothing in this Arsenal side to suggest that they are vulnerable with regard to the threat that Paris Saint-Germain pose. Think about what Bukayo Saka is. And people are so dumb in this country, I find. We forever talk about
That's that overall?
No, I do, because I think what we do in this country is like we will really talk about how good Vinicius Junior is, or we will wax lyrical about Rodrigo, or we will talk about Antoine Griezmann, whatever we do. What we never do is go, do you know what?
Bukayo Saka's pretty world class, isn't he?
Bukayo Saka's better than a lot of them.
Yeah, he's very
Bukayo
good.
Saka is undoubtedly better than a lot of them, but we don't really talk about that. And you think about that game that was played in Madrid. You think about what happened to him, and you can almost use that game as a microcosm for who he is. He tried to dink the keeper with a Panenka, right? Dumb. Shouldn't have done it. Really bad decision from him.
Yeah.
What does he do about an hour later? The haters had about an hour to gloat in the miss before he actually dinked Thibaut Courtois, the best goalie in the world, at the Bernabeu. Resilience, bounces back, mental fortitude. And he, in that team, will elevate everyone. Declan Rice, best midfielder in the world at the moment.
There's an argument for it, given how he's been.
I don't think it's an extreme thing to say.
For it.
Then you look at Jurrien Timber. You look at Martinelli scored a winner in the Bernabeu. Like, I don't even think he's that good, but you see the moment where he nutmegged Dendrick. You're like, hang on, and it's hateful because I'm desperate for none of this to be true. Like, desperate for this to go wrong for them.
Well, talking of which, the other two teams I very quickly need to ask you about are Manchester United and Spurs, who are heading to their Europa League semi-finals. Are we going to end up, in your opinion, with a Tottenham-Manchester United semi? Man United are playing Athletic Bilbao, by the way, and Spurs are playing Bodo Glimt.
I think that heritage counts, and Bodo Glimt won't be in the final of the Europa League.
It's been good, mate.
I hope they are. I hope they are more than I hope anything.
You're telling me it wouldn't be the most Spursy thing ever if they lost to Bodo Glimt in the semi-final?
I would love it. I would love it. I would do anything to make this happen. I would pay good money. I would sacrifice many things for this to happen. I prioritise. I would do almost anything for Paris Saint-Germain and Bodo Glimt to progress.
Who would you want to win more?
Paris Saint-Germain. It's too big. Because also, I feel like Tottenham could get done in the final, whereas I think Arsenal, like London, is going to be a no-go zone. No-go zone on the 31st of May. Like, genuinely. Like, it's not going to be a pocket of London. You know how many Arsenal fans are? Arsenal dominate London. Like, you know, if Chelsea are in the final, there's a pocket of London that you swerve and you won't be affected. You go as far south as Clapham, Battersea, don't be in Fulham, North End Road, swerve that, you won't be affected by Chelsea winning the European Cup. Tottenham, kind of the opposite end of London. You swerve that area, and you're basically
everywhere.
Arsenal will be a no-go zone in South London.
Yeah.
You could literally be in Neasden, and it's going to ruin your day. You could literally be in Liverpool Street, and it's going to ruin your day. You could be in Streatham, it's going to ruin your day. You could actually be in other teams' areas. You could be in Stratford, which is a West Ham area, ruin your day. You could be in Fulham, Chelsea area, ruin your day. London is going to be a no-go zone. Like, Paris Saint-Germain.
About it,
yeah, mate. Like, ici c'est Paris. Like, they have to do it. I need to get myself a ticket.
You're going to grow a little moustache and
mate,
get
swan
a beret.
out of a baguette and that. Like, they need to win. They absolutely need to win.
Oh, my word. Well, I cannot wait to see if...
but they're not going to.
If Rory, the Oracle Jennings, is correct with his predictions there.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.